Hello, today I'd like to talk about successful aging. Much of what is known about successful aging comes from longitudinal studies that have been conducted looking at how we change over a period of time and factors that are associated with successful aging. One of these studies is the MacArthur study, which includes several different research studies that were conducted using a longitudinal approach, studying older adults. And in this particular study, the researchers identified three factors in particular that are associated with successful aging. One is avoiding disease. Two is engagement with life. And three is maintaining high cognitive and physical functioning. All of these factors were found to be associated with successful aging. Another researcher in the field, in looking at the MacArthur findings, said it boils down to this: living a life full of joy, love, and learning. So that researcher happened to be George Vaillant. You spell his last name Vaillant. He has been involved in a major longitudinal study on aging conducted at Harvard University that actually started back in the 1930s and has continued on throughout the 20th century into the 21st century, involving now, I believe, 3 different generations of researchers. This study, called the Adult Development Study, followed male graduates of Harvard starting back in the 1930s forward. The researchers identified a number of factors that are associated with successful aging, including not smoking or stopping smoking while young, coping adaptively with mature defenses. An example of a mature defense would be humor, not abusing alcohol, maintaining a healthy weight, a stable marriage, some exercise, and being educated. All of these factors were found to be associated with healthy aging and served as lifestyle predictors. And then another study I'd like to tell you about is the nun study that was conducted on nuns in St. Cloud, Minnesota, who were members of the Order of Sisters of Notre Dame. These nuns were found to live long and productive lives, many of them well into their 100s. So a team of researchers from the University of Minnesota went up to St. Cloud to study these nuns, and they're wondering, what's up with the nuns who are living so long? When they got there, they discovered that some of these nuns had written an autobiography about themselves when they entered the convent many years earlier. In examining these autobiographies and then looking at the lives of the nuns who wrote them, they found that those nuns who had positive, hopeful, optimistic emotions expressed in their autobiographies lived, on the average, considerably longer than those nuns whose autobiographies reflected more of a pessimistic outlook on life. So in other words, they found that positive emotions correlated favorably with longevity. Something else that was really remarkable that they found in that study was that when the nuns died, and many of them, of course, died well into their hundreds, they examined the brains of those who uh, willed or donated their life, their brains for that purpose. And they found evidence of Alzheimer's disease in many of those brains. But remarkably, those nuns were not showing outward evidence of Alzheimer's disease, and that they weren't having symptoms of the disease, even though their brains showed evidence of the disease for many of those nuns. So the researchers speculated that perhaps what was going on there is that because the nuns were living such healthy lives, they were building up some reserves that helped them to be more resilient and resistant to showing signs of Alzheimer's disease. A very remarkable study, the nun study. So taken together, these studies give us some ideas about how we might go about living our own lives, about ways in which we might be able to experience greater longevity and better quality of life as a result of the choices that we make. Thank you. I look forward to talking with you again soon.